Instead, let's move on over to board number 2, which is the Chicago Dog. And on board number 2, we've got Andrei Gribakov in Austria, coming to us from California. In England, we have Derek Rocco, coming to us from Onaway, Michigan, which I meant to look up where it is. I did not. I'm sorry, Derek. Maybe we can get a producer to tell us something about that. In France, we have Bill Hackenbracht, who is well known to all of us in the face-to-face hobby. He ran the Liberty Cup, which was the previous face-to-face tournament. He's coming to us from Fayetteville, North Carolina. In Germany, we have Markus Zijlstra, who is a DBN contributor. He has appeared as a commentator on our show, also as a guest on DBN Deadline, which is our news program. And Markus is also doing some editing work for us behind the scenes as well. This is his Weasel Moot debut. And congratulations, Markus. Italy, we have Kevin O'Kelly, who is a Weasel, a longtime Chicago Weasel, coming to us from Chicago. In Russia, we have JJ Raymond, coming to us from Santa Monica, California. And in Turkey, we have Liam Stokes, coming to us from Victoria, in British Columbia. And Doug, I believe you did some background on these players. What do you have for us?
Yeah, this is an exciting board, Brandon. So we have a lot of newer players on here, starting with Andrei. He's been playing for about 6 months. And so, who was on the first board who had just started in the coronavirus? We have another hobbyist who's taken the game up in this kind of time. Derek is pretty new to competitive games, has mostly played with friends. So it's nice to see somebody taking that early gameplay and then bringing it into tournaments. That's nice to see. Contrasted with Bill, who we all know really well. Bill is a world-class player, and he's very, very strong at this game, and also a really fun guy to hang around with in real tournament, in-person tournaments, not virtual tournaments. Bill's a good guy to hang around with.
And he's made a couple top boards at World Championships, correct? Including last year in Marseille.
Yeah, that's right. I've long said if you make a top board, anybody on a top board can win a game. We'll talk about that more tomorrow. If you're making top boards, you're likely to win a tournament at some point. Markus is you mentioned that he is a contributor. He is also an organizer for WebDip and Nexus. So he's really engaged in a lot of different places. So thank you, Markus, for all that work, and hope you don't get stabbed too bad by Kevin O'Kelly, who is a long time. I think I'll be watching Kevin. He's played for a long time. He's pretty well known within the community, but
a devilish player, it should add.
He is. He's very good. He is very good. But the one I'm most excited about on this board is JJ, who is 16 years old. He's only been playing Diplomacy for a few months, and this is the funniest part, because his initials are the same as his Diplomacy idol John Jameson. He has decided to proclaim himself as John Jameson Jr. or John Jameson 2.0. So nice job, JJ.
JJJ, Triple J.
Triple J. And then finally, Liam Stokes is also a pretty new player. He's been playing for about a year. So a lot of new players, and that's really exciting to see.
Yeah, and you can see in their ranks here, 4 of these players haven't even played a game that would qualify them for the Invitational yet. So this will mark their entry into the rankings. So yeah, so we've got 2 players that we know are experienced. Only one of them is experienced in face-to-face. I'm sorry, 2 face-to-face with a lot of experience, Bill and Kevin. We have Markus, who is an accomplished player, but in online extended deadline games, not necessarily face-to-face. And then we've got 4 other players who, as far as we know, are relatively new. So, all right, let's dive in and see how things shake out. And why don't we switch up the East and the West this time? Siobhan will take you in the East, and Doug will take you in the West. And let us start with the West. Doug, what do you see over there?
I see a bounce in Tyrolia, and otherwise I see pretty common standard openings, not showing your hand right away, but giving yourself maximum flexibility and opportunity. The move Munich to Tyrolia, again, I think that's of note. That's oftentimes just a defensive thing. You don't want Italy to pop up there and maybe snaffle Munich or cause you problems. But pretty good strong openings, not a lot to really talk about yet. We'll have to keep an eye on it.
And this bounce is often arranged, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of times, although Rome to Venice following it, a little less so. If you were arranging the bounce, I might want to go to Apulia instead.
Okay, and then Siobhan in the east, what else stands out to you?
The only thing that really jumps out to me in the east is the lack of a bounce in the Black Sea and the move of Smyrna to Armenia.
Yeah.
They clearly, Russia and Turkey are working together enough that neither of them moved to the Black Sea, but we still see the Chicago famous Smyrna to Armenia. It's not quite the Sunstrom, but it's close.
It is in the water, or the electrons in this case. It's crazy with these games. When we do a bunch of games together, we get these weird trends that just come out of nowhere. And this is now 2 for 2, no bounce in the Black Sea, which is probably the single most common set of moves on any diplomacy game, right? For 1901. Okay, let's move forward then into fall of 1901, and we'll stay in the east since that's where we finished. And Siobhan, tell us what you see.
Mostly not much. The bounce in Sevastopol was likely arranged. It allows Russia to keep Romania. It gives Turkey something to do with the unit, and they can try to sell it to the rest of the board saying, see, look, we're fighting. P.S. They're not fighting. It's not a thing. And the only other thing of note is Russia forces his way into Galicia.
Yeah. This is this.
I was just going to say, boy, I look at that scenario you're talking about, the arranged bounce. I really want to hold in Armenia and go to the Black Sea.
That would have been so beautiful.
But there's a real reason why you do that, not just the delicious mischievousness of it, but also because as Turkey, this is not a great RT for you. It's not a great way to start an RT. You've got a fleet in Romania that can't help you in any way.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Your saving grace is that you're in the Aegean already, which is nice, but you've got no guaranteed dot here. And if there was an army in Romania, you could convince them to cut Serbia and blah blah blah.
Yeah,
okay.
But I mean, the winner here is Austria, right?
You think?
I mean, if that's the RT that's coming at me, I don't really hate it, and I don't think it's going to last very long.
Yeah, right. If that was the only thing, if it was
there are other things that I'll let Doug cover, but
yeah. So so this was the big one here, right? Doug, what do you see in the West? And you can talk about Italy here.
Yeah, I think Bill Hackenbracht is in a real strong driver's seat position, picking up 3 builds. A lot of times you don't want to do that, but really, if England is going to go to Holland, a move I do like a lot to do is England. If you're going to go after Germany, why let Germany get out of the gate? Do that bounce right there. But also at the same time, convoy to Norway, that's going to irritate Russia. Maybe biting off more than you can chew there, and a bounce in Sweden. Not a lot of love.
But it speaks to your point about this being great for France. Like, not only do they get the 3 builds, they have all this tactical flexibility, but everyone else is fighting.
That's right.
It's a big mess up here in the north. It's a big mess up here in the east. Yeah. Okay. Let's move forward here and see. And of course, Bill has arranged all of this through sleight of hand. So we get the fleet in Brest, which might be a little bit surprising given how much England sort of did for you that turn. This is a potentially very threatening move for a build for England from France. France chooses to waive the 3rd build, which a lot of people like to do. Lets you keep your cards a little bit closer to your vest. In the elsewhere, Germany puts down an army here, which is interesting. Seeing that France is the one that he needs to combat here, rather than going after Sweden. So this is probably a bid to get Russia on board to help, which seems perfectly plausible. Russia, for his part, rewards that with a fleet north coast St. Petersburg, which is now 2 for 2. In these 2 games.
Oh my God.
Again, the most unusual, well, maybe Sevastopol is the more unusual build for Russia, but this is not one you see a whole lot. Now we've seen it 2 for 2. Elsewhere, yeah, we get the fleet in Smyrna, which confirms what we thought, which was that the bounce in Sevastopol was agreed upon. Okay, let's move forward here into the spring, and let's start in the east here with Siobhan. And
I think what jumps out to all of us is the move from Armenia to Sevastopol again. I can't believe that was arranged, but I mean, Russia is picking up Sweden, so maybe they think that Turkey just needs another unit. I don't know. That feels like
Possibly,
Turkey and Austria are working something else out.
possibly just really good negotiation on the part of Liam there,
Yeah.
or
Exactly.
might as well take it. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, I love being there if I'm Turkey, so go for it.
It'll be really nice to see what this fleet does in the fall, whether it supports one or the other into one or the other.
Absolutely.
Okay, in the West then, Doug, let us have it.
Yeah, the thing that is probably the most significant is the English Channel gets forced by England. So that's a pretty strong defensive setup. I didn't think Bill's build was all that inflammatory. Putting one fleet in Brest and then waving a potential second fleet in Marseille, I wouldn't have hated that as England. So I'd be curious what's going on behind the scenes. And then helping Germany into Holland, I think, is a real strong signal that, hey, I want to work with you. Let's not fight.
Yeah, suddenly Markus is everyone's favorite, right?
Well, he's I've not played with Markus, but having watched him, he's a smart guy. He's pretty clearly a strong diplomat. So I have to imagine he's spending a lot of time on that.
Yeah, I think if I were England, I would have really wanted to see Army Marseille and Army Paris and wave the third build. There's fleet. If we were really going to do an EF, the fleet doesn't do a whole lot, and you really need to have an army in Burgundy at least.
Yeah, I might not like the builds as France. You can sell it though. It's like hey, look, I got to defend myself potentially against you. I'm going to sit in Mid-Atlantic and Spain.
We've seen that. We've seen that. We've seen that movie before, especially from John Jameson. That's actually a special of his. So okay, let's move forward here into the fall, and Doug will stay with you in the West, where there is some more stuff happening. Lots of black arrows. Tell us about it.
Yeah, England and Germany made common cause after that, 0-1 bounce in Holland, which I thought was pretty significant. Germany repays France's support into Holland by piffing Belgium and move to Burgundy. The good thing here is actually Bill still has a build, so this is not tragic. It's not ideal. He got into the English Channel, so he's pretty defensive. So even though Bill's not doing great right now, he still has some opportunity. And in the meantime, England is continuing the practice of attacking everyone.
Yeah, France. So France gets a rebuild here, is what you were saying, because they had one in the bank and now they have one piffed. So
right.
Even though they lost Belgium, they still get to put a unit down.
Yeah, and that'll be an army in Paris, most likely. Could be an army in Marseille.
Yeah. You think Marseille here, right? Because Picardy can retreat to Paris if need be.
Yeah, and then you can knock him out of Burgundy potentially. Most likely, yeah.
Oh yeah, depending on what Germany builds here, presumably Army Munich. So and then in the East, almost nothing happens. There is one thing of note, though. Tell us.
There is indeed one thing of note, and that is all. And Sev just walks right out into Ukraine, and all I really have to say about the East is what is happening.
It's a whole lot of nothing. I mean, like, it's even less than nothing. Like that move from Sevastopol to Ukraine. I wish Saren were playing this position right here, because there is zero chance that she would have walked out of Sevastopol here.
I completely agree, and I actively hate what is happening in the East.
Yeah, I don't even. I mean, yeah, who goes where from here? This was a perfect opportunity for Turkey to stab, right? Really little to lose. Are we agreed on that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with that. What do you think? What do you make of the attack on Trieste? That's interesting.
The unsupported attack?
Well, no, Tyrolia supported Venice to hold, which I think must have just been a misorder. Because if Tyrolia was going to do anything, it should have supported Venice to Trieste.
Yeah.
Why it's not gonna get there? Well, I guess it could have, but
Actually, would it have? No, I
Yeah.
think Vienna supported Trieste, not Budapest here.
Did it?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
No, Vienna wasn't vulnerable because there was a fleet, and it's like a, what's the right analogy here? It's like if you took a bunch of differently colored Legos and just locked them all together in a way that was completely inseparable. Except for there was one yellow Lego that was holding the whole thing up and could have collapsed. If you just removed it, would have collapsed the whole thing.
The brave little yellow Lego had the chance to be a hero. And we'll see.
Liam, you could have made the East look like the West with arrows going all over the place.
You could have been a contender.
All right. We've often been surprised. We've often been shown the error of our early ways. So we look forward to seeing who's going to make us look dumb. All right. For builds, we see Germany putting down 2. Why did Germany get 2 here?
Holland and Belgium.
Holland
and Belgium. Very good. Puts down 2 armies. One of them perplexingly in Berlin. But there must be a destination in mind for that.
I assume Prussia or Silesia.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
Right, I'm sorry, because Germany and England are now teaming up against Russia. So that makes perfect sense. England gets a build from Sweden, puts down another army, a fleet. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I want to reverse. I want to reverse that fleet and army from Germany and from England. Germany really wants a second fleet, and England wants another army.
Mm-hmm.
In the context of an EG, or in the context of looking beyond the EG?
If I am Germany in this position, I put a fleet in Kiel to go to the Baltic so that I have the availability to convoy to Livonia and also to go up to St. Petersburg. And then I don't need 5 armies in France, because if I'm going to crack France, it's going to come from the fleets, because I can't do that by myself. I've gotten what I'm going to get from France at this point as Germany. So you can affect an attack on Russia and France simultaneously as England and Germany quite effectively. So those armies have to go east. So if he's going Prussia, Silesia, maybe that's fine. But I like to have that second fleet in the Baltic Sea also, just in case of shenanigans by England, because England could take Denmark right now.
But that's what it is. It's looking beyond the EG. What happens when the EG starts to break down? If you're committed to the EG, then I think don't you send Denmark to Baltic here? You actually clear north. Norwegian goes over to North Atlantic. You've got much higher unit efficiency that way. You just have to trust each other.
Well, that's always the tricky situation.
But we should point out to our viewers who may not know that Doug is probably the foremost expert on playing Germany in the world at the moment. And so if Doug Moore says you should probably be building a fleet here in Kiel, then you should probably be building a fleet in Kiel. All right, I think that does it for the builds, because literally nothing happened in the East.
Still hate it.
All right, let's find out some fear and loathing in the East and tell us about it, Siobhan. Something happens, but it still feels like nothing.
I mean, okay, so we take Romania, and Russia chooses to simply piff the fleet, which tells me that Turkey is probably just going to walk out of a Russian center yet again. And why? This is like they're trying to do a rat, but they just can't figure out that they should be moving.
It seems like a 4-way alliance. Right?
Yeah, an IRAT, like one that's made by Apple, I guess.
All right, enough of the East. Doug, tell us about the West.
I want to call out a really clever tactical move here by Bill. It looks bad if you initially look at it, but the end result is going to be quite good. He supported himself into Burgundy. The German army is going to retreat to Paris, but he's sitting now Gascony, Burgundy, Picardy, because he tapped Belgium. This is a good bit of peace moving and order writing by Bill. Now that German army is going to get blown up in Paris. So that's nice. And that always hurts when you start losing forward deployed units. Now let's see if Markus rebuilds it as a fleet, which he doesn't need to do, because you called it, Brandon. He moved Denmark to the Baltic Sea.
And let's point out here that as part of this, a key part of this strategy here on Bill's part was English Channel tapping Belgium. in order to guarantee that Burgundy gets in here. Well, it didn't guarantee it, actually. There could have been the Rios could have, or Markus could have done the could have led from Belgium, but this needed to happen the way that it was worked out. All right, let's move forward here and then see how. And also, so England plays this a little bit too conservatively here. They really need another fleet around the north here. Yeah.
I would think so. I'm not entirely sure that England really wants to go through with the attack on Russia at this point, and maybe is just biding some time. But clearing the North Sea and then remaining in the Norwegian, Denmark and Baltic should be able to defend that. I think he's worried about Norway.
Yeah, and also the fleet stuck in London here. You just don't need the fleet. That's not a good place for a fleet to be if you've got.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't like that.
All right, let's stay in the west here, and actually, I'm sorry, there were better tactics open to them than we realized. Tell us about it, Doug.
They tried to pull Paris to Brest, but they got the PIF still, which is good. It's a little hard to see all of the arrows with the fleet.
So what happened was that Paris tapped Brest, which enabled English to go to the Mid-Atlantic with support from Irish, and that was guaranteed thanks to that tap. And since there was the follow-up to London, suddenly England's fleets are very well positioned, at least relative to France.
Yeah, this is actually going to work out pretty well for Markus. It feels like it's really not, but losing that army is not the worst thing in the world, because now that Russia and Italy are over there, there's some shenanigans afoot over there. You actually want that rebuild back home. So this actually plays out pretty nicely for Markus, I think. And Bill, it's not awesome to have the English in the Mid-Atlantic Ocean here if you're France, but it's not the end of the world, because again, Gascony can drop down to Spain and help cover that. It feels like England might be getting themselves into a cul-de-sac here.
Yeah, and without the pressure from the south, France can hold on for quite a while.
Yeah.
All right, Siobhan, there actually was some stuff happening in the east.
There are some things happening in the east. I agree. I'm going to continue my theme of what the heck is happening here, because yes, Turkey does keep Romania, so I was wrong about that. I am wrong from time to time. But Russia helps Turkey into Galicia, while Turkey shifts the fleets around to, I guess, make an attack on Greece, which isn't going to work because Italy's supporting Greece to hold. Does anybody know who's working with who here?
Well, it's an RT, right?
I guess.
Turkey's going to get a build here. They're going to put a fleet down, so they should be able to take Greece.
That's okay, fair. Fleet Smyrna. Doesn't Russia pull in this scenario?
No, because they had the fleet that was piffed that they dislodged.
Right. Okay. So I don't love this for Russia. Don't love it. I mean, Turkey wins, I guess, but no. Yeah, still not a fan.
Doug, do you have concerns for the health of Russia in this case as well?
I do. I have real concerns about the health of Russia. I mean, you're so forward deployed in Silesia and Warsaw. I mean, all it takes is Kevin O'Kelly getting into Liam's head that, go to Sev, go to Sev.
Look, it's Sevastopol. It's right there.
Let's work together, you and I. We'll take down Austria and Russia at the same time. I mean,
Kevin O'Kelly is kind of is in a fun position. I mean, doesn't have a whole lot of sort of growth potential quite yet, but still, isn't really being attacked and has ability to influence the board depending on how he wants.
And it really does look like a Lego blockade in the center of the board there with all those armies. I mean, that's a lot of armies, a contiguous line across the continent.
All right, so Kevin has to navigate another fleet down here. Question is whether he and Austria stay together and sort of keep trying to stalemate. We've got some locking up in the center of the board and also on the naval front on the west. So we have, it feels like sort of tectonic plates have settled into place for the moment, and we're going to have some pressure building up and something's going to break because this game should not stay this stable for very long, especially with some players on here who, like Bill and Kevin and Markus, who didn't play last week and know how to score big, and they're going to be wanting to in order to make that top board. So let's do another year, and then we'll pause on this game. But before we pause, I'll get your thoughts on who you think is in the strongest position. But we got another year to see how things rearrange here. So let's start in the West here. Doug, lots of black arrows again. Actually, lots of black arrows in the East too, but we'll come back to that. Let's start in the West. Doug, what do you see?
Italy. Wow. Okay. This is interesting. Markus decided that he is sticking with England, and he's going to, make the mammoth play to try and take France down. And it looks to me like Bill is deciding to defend against Germany rather than England. That's what it feels like to me on that. In the meantime, I do note that Norwegian went to Norway from Sweden, so they're also extending that attack going forward against Russia in the north. So strong EG at this point.
And now they have St. Petersburg as well, right? Because this retreat actually really worked out, or this move. Really worked out poorly. And it's Bill, who is an excellent tactician, and we saw that in the earlier turns. Had other options, better defensive options to him open to him here, and did not take them.
Yeah, I mean, the challenge with this is he can't defend everything. He can absolutely defend against England. There's no question about that by just dropping down to Spain. He didn't do that. Instead, he's moving forward. I will point out, though, that he doesn't really need that fleet in Brest. If he could just say to England, take Brest. I don't even care, because it's just one fleet holding that, and the English fleet can't go further inland from there.
Yeah.
So it's not the end of the world. And he can cover Spain still from the retreat to Gascony. So, Bill is a strong tactician, and he's deploying against Germany because I think England's a bit in a cul-de-sac. You got Brest, but you need an army to be in Brest to crack France. So it's going to take him a couple more years to do it.
All right, we'll come back to that. First, in the East, we have one of the most delicious things in diplomacy. Tell us about it, Siobhan.
There's so much happening in the East, and finally, thank you so much. Turkey, you were looking okay for a minute, but I do love that you got the opportunity to retreat to Sevastopol.
Yes.
And thank you for taking that opportunity, because if you had asked me last turn, if you were getting kicked out of Romania, where would you go? I probably would have said Ukraine. So Austria and Italy are just gonna chomp into the RT that is desperately trying to chug along, but I don't think it's long for this world.
The retreat into an open enemy or foreign supply center is what I was thinking of when I talked about one of the most delicious things in diplomacy.
Love it.
All right, now we're getting to the dumped out box of Legos look here. So let's stay in the East here, and Siobhan, tell us there's a lot of activity here, which benefits one country in particular. Tell us about it.
Yeah, hang on. Okay, so Sevastopol tries to move, quote unquote, tries to get out of the supply center. Nothing. Oops, sorry, I guess I have to stay here now. This, it's not a terrible turn for Turkey, but it's better for Austria all around. Like, this is great.
So the really interesting thing that happens here is that Italy, the three of them get on the same page. So Italy's bounce of in the Eastern Med paid dividends for the fall. Even though it looked like it gave up on Greece in the spring, it got them back in the fall. And so Austria now is getting a build here. Austria
will get a build. Has to put it in Trieste. It will almost certainly be an army, but I would love to see another Austrian fleet today. This might not be the time, FYI.
All right, and then so Doug, there's a whole lot of nothing around the French centers. Is that worth talking about, or should we go right up to the north here?
I would say good tactics by Bill again. you got to sacrifice Brest. That's fine. It's the cul-de-sac. I am very intrigued by supporting into Finland instead of just taking St. Petersburg right now.
Yeah. If you're Germany, don't you push hard for that because England's getting a build. You need one to keep pace.
Yeah. I'm not sure about that. And I will also say I'm perplexed a little bit with the Ruhr, Munich, Berlin not doing anything. You're not even defending Burgundy. Why not just like amble over to Prussia and then rotate your army Ruhr to Munich and Munich to Berlin? Because you're attacking Russia either way. I'm unsure. And it's a really weak tactical play to blow up a Russian fleet that's going to get rebuilt potentially. You know,
I don't. It was completely risk free. There was no risk whatsoever.
I'm just. I don't know what's going on there. I would love to talk with Markus and say, okay, what were you thinking and what was happening here?
Markus is a skilled player, so he must have a rationale for it.
He does, and it's always hard. I don't want to criticize because we're only looking at the board and we're not having those diplomatic negotiations. There could be a really good reason why they did that.
Yeah, and maybe Derek is a newer player and just wasn't. Markus couldn't convince him to go through with that plan. That's certainly
and he also could have just been really, well, I don't need to grow so fast. I'm going to sit here at home and see how this Eastern stuff resolves.
Yeah, long play. All right, so sorry to disappoint Siobhan, but we have an army in Trieste. We have what feels like a very surprising army in Ankara. There could have made a good argument here for fleet. In fact, a real good argument, I think.
I don't see an argument for an army in Ankara. I mean, I guess if the plan is to walk up to Moscow and follow the army around to Armenia, but you
could put it in Smyrna and at least sort of keep open the option of a convoy to Greece or something like that.
Yeah.
All right, let's and then we have a fleet in Liverpool, which is real. You got to be so happy to see that as Germany. Just had to be holding your breath there, just making sure that you would get England to stay committed.
Yeah, I still want an army though.
If you're England,
I don't need 4 fleets on the west there.
All right, we will remember this as the Army Ankara and Fleet Liverpool game when we come back to it. Before we leave, though, I would love to hear you guys. Who do you think is in the strongest long-term position on this board? Siobhan, we'll start with you.
I still really like Austria. I mean, he's got a really good friend in Italy. I think has a lot of potential to play what remains of the RT off of each other. And, there's a lot of chaos in the West, despite, the one EG alliance that's happening.
And Doug?
I don't know where he's going with it right now, but I do like what's happening with Derek's position. You've got that strong friend in Germany. Once France is down as England, you're pretty much assured of a decently strong result. And he's just going to be pretty safe as long as he doesn't, get too aggressive and wander too far away. But with that one German fleet only, boy, really hard not to love England's position.
All right, we will find out more about this game when we come back to it. This board was, let's see, Bill Hackenbracht and was set upon by Derek and Markus. Markus had the initial setback, I believe, and then has managed to rebound by forming a tight EG. I think Doug, this is the one where you wanted a stab here. And I suggested that EG might be more efficient by separating Baltic and North, and that is what happened, which still dismayed you. Right, you wanted a fleet keel build, I think, right here in O2.
Yep.
Okay, and then elsewhere on the board, we have Liam turning... Oh, right, this is where we had another one of these fleets getting blown up, and...
right.
But not the one where we had the retreat to Sevastopol. I think.
This
was it. This was it.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
This is the retreat to Sevastopol, the oops game. Okay, great. So then,
whoops! How did I wind up there?
Right, and this is where I thought Derek really could have used an army. Right, he builds this fleet, putting 4.
That's right.
English
yeah.
fleets
Right. And the Army Ank.
Right. So I thought that Derek would have been well served by putting an army down here at this point. He doesn't really need another fleet for the rest of the game, I think.
Right. I remember when we left this game, we said it's the Fleet Liverpool Army Ank game. That's how we were going to remember it.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, good. Let's move forward here then and see what happens. So I believe Siobhan, you were in the West then, correct? We switched up for this game.
I was in the West last time, so I would be in the East this time.
Okay, like I said, Siobhan, I think you were in the East for this game because you were in the West for the last game, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So let's speak to Army Ank, which drops over to Armenia. I'm not super shocked about that. Just a walk into Moscow. Nothing could have been done about it. We see Russia losing St. Petersburg to the English. And yeah, just Russia all around having a bad time and probably not gonna survive this year.
We see Trieste to Serbia. That's the little.
Trieste to Serbia is interesting. The Turk isn't moving away, which tells me that it's not like they were convinced to do something completely different. But you know, it's just Serbia and Romania and. Well, Greece. Okay, fine.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that. And all right, Doug, tell us about the West.
A lot of black arrows over there. I like Italy moving to the West Med. I mean, France is going to fall, and Italy has to read those 4 fleets. Or what else are they going to do? They're going to come right back after me. So I like the tactics I'm seeing here. I mean. Not much you can do in your bill in this situation, but you're doing the best that you can to slow things down and to stop it. Good move by Derek. It's all, I will also note that Germany got Sweden when Russia lost St. Petersburg. So, he kind of got in there. So they're still kind of growing and progressing. So let's see what we get. Do we get a fleet? Do we get an army? The EG looks pretty good here, but if Italy is going to help France out, that's a great slowdown. I just don't know what Kevin gets out of it.
All right, let's keep going here and find out. And let's start with you in the West. What of interest happens here?
We've got Spain not getting dislodged and Mid-Atlantic moved to Spain, so that got West Med into the Mid-Atlantic, which is a great tactical sequence for France and for Italy, but it's a phenomenal setback for Derek. I mean, he's got 4 fleets. You can't get out Fox by 2 there. Yeah. You got to take the cautious opportunity.
Yeah, you kind of have to wonder what made him think he was going to get Spain here. Did Italy, drip the poison and offer to support him in?
Certainly a possibility there. And I think that is really what defines this turn in the West for me. And I also know, the Barents Sea just went to the Norwegian Sea, which is going to cause some problems if he's able to stay alive for a turn and decides to keep that fleet. So, there's some piratical fun that could happen behind him.
Piratical.
To Edinburgh.
England does get a build here, it is worth saying, from Portugal. So
okay,
at
fine.
least we'll be able to do that. Germany, however, is going to have to get 2 builds, but only 1 place to drop it.
Actually, England's not going to get a build because they lost Sweden. Oh, wait, no, they took St. Petersburg. I'm wrong.
Yeah, up St. Pete and Portugal, down Sweden.
And down Sweden. So,
but the EG is going to be playing a unit short here because
Germany can't build.
Yeah. Okay, Siobhan, talk us around the East.
The only thing of note that I really want to point out is that it looks like the AT are doing their darndest to work together, but not doing it in as trusting or as an efficient a way as possible because Russia could be dead right now. Yeah. Why are we double supporting the move into Sevastopol if we're working together, if we trust each other?
And why supporting into Silesia here? Why not
why not Gal and Moss making a play for Warsaw with Bohemia cutting Silesia?
And then we also
inefficient.
We also have Trieste getting taken by the Italian with nothing replacing the dot from.
Oh yeah, love that, Kevin O'Kelly. A plus.
All right. So do we see Austria bid adieu to Tyrrhenian Sea or to Albania? The answer is Galicia. Okay.
Wait, Galicia, Livonia, and Warsaw were all taken off the board.
That is happy birthday, Turkey. Except
Yeah.
That's a choice.
Yeah. Okay. Where's this game headed? We know this game goes for a number of years. If you were gonna pick a player to put a bet on here, you've got Germany is topping the board right now with 8, which is crazy, honestly, considering where they were at the end of 1901 or in 1902, I think is when things were really weird for them. And you've got England at 7, so you've got the EG that has been successful. You've got Turkey with a lot of room to grow. Who do you put your money on here?
I'll stick in the West in this one and leave Turkey for Siobhan. I think that Markus has played a pretty fantastic game, and I think that even though it doesn't look like he's got the greatest positioning, all those fleets for England really will prohibit substantial growth unless he stabs, and so I like the German position right now.
And Siobhan?
Okay, well, I don't necessarily disagree with Doug. I actually disagree with Doug. I love the potential for growth for the Turk. The polls that were made this turn, like, you just gotta be like rubbing your palms. You are so happy. You have never loved anything more in your moment. I'm going with the Turk.
All right, very good. I kind of wonder if the Turk is able to grow and keep Germany back. That's the thing that I would worry about for Turkey. But if Austria is gonna let you take their dots, then
take them.
There's just more room there. I'm with you, Doug, though, that I feel like this Italian fleet complicates England's position so much that it's something that Germany could potentially take advantage of, especially with the fleet with the build in pocket,
Norwegian
right?
Sea. Yeah, right. You still got that fleet up in the Norwegian Sea, so England's got some things that they've got to deal with. And one wrong guess could really put them in a tough spot, which we saw with losing the Mid-Atlantic.
All right, let's keep going here. In spring 1906, let's stay in the West. Doug, and tell us what you see here.
Italy retreated to Brest. That's awesome.
Good.
I love it. I'm not sure. Was this an NMR? Because it looks like all of the units held. So, that complicates everything. I don't see any fight going on between Germany and really here and England. I see some bouncing going on. So it looks like the dynamic really hasn't shifted. What is of great interest is he's, popped down to Silesia. And that gives a lot more play going forward and, trying to open those avenues of growth up.
I've heard stories of you saying that Silesia is a really good place for Germany to be.
Something like that. Yeah.
Tall tale.
Some friend of mine told me that they had a long conversation about that once.
Siobhan, what's the net effect of all of this troop rearrangement?
The net effect is, in short, Russia's going to wind up losing Warsaw. Turkey gets it. The AT is pushing everything up to the center of the board as quick as they possibly can, and Austria is realigning to take Trieste back. But hopefully we'll remember to cover Budapest.
All right, let's find out. Didn't need to, didn't want to.
Could have walked into Trieste. Just point for note, unless Italy's onside and jumping up to Tyrolia to help the AT.
That seems likely. The juicy thing though is what happens in Warsaw.
Walks out of Warsaw. Oh, why?
I assume to keep this fleet in play.
It must be.
Yeah, definitely.
Keep the fleet in play. Were they insured to get into Silesia based on the moves they made? Yes, they cut Berlin, Munich. Okay.
Yep.
Well, in that Germany didn't lose a dot, so that destruction. He gets to rebuild and Kiel and lock the line down. But of interest,
Yeah,
you
but
know,
didn't he have a pocket build from last time, so he's
Yeah.
still playing one short?
still playing one
Exactly.
short. That sucks. You know, I'm curious. He moved Burgundy to Picardy and then over to Munich, which gives him a pretty defensible spot if England is causing shenanigans. And he's got enough to hold Munich. The problem is, do you just end up stuck on the line and not able to do anything or build? And then I'm chuckling a little bit, but they definitely outguessed what was happening. They outguessed themselves because, you know, England's pulling one.
Yep. Someone in the comments actually does point out that Germany will be able to build
Yep.
both because Munich was
Munich
vacated.
is-
Oh, Munich was vacated. Okay, I
Yep.
got it.
So Munich
There
is
was a
open here.
stand there. Okay.
Yeah, so this feels like all of a sudden we're heading towards stasis unless Turkey wanted to get some ideas. And Turkey
I
was
think
sitting,
Turkey should have ideas.
Turkey's sitting in 15th place with 20 points. So this score would almost certainly not be enough to get them onto the top board.
Not where we
And,
are.
In terms of builds, nothing too surprising here. Let us find out. It feels like the time for Turkey to get ideas passed, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So
I mean, I like to say never, but no.
So Austria is getting put into two different dots here, into Spain and into Warsaw. England pulls back a bit. Looks to me like they're just setting up a line.
So you're saying this is the game I should have rooted for Austria?
Russia gets into Norway.
Yes.
I mean,
Oh, JJ, love it.
why would you do that if? Oh, he just lost the guess. That's what happened here.
I see. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
He
And
missed the
well,
guess, but I mean that means he's going to lose St. Petersburg potentially as well.
To Turkey. This is now when Turkey should get ideas. Yeah.
Oh, yes, absolutely, they should.
All right,
Yeah.
let's find out if they do. And they don't. No, they take what?
What?
Liam.
Oh, I wanted that St. Pete take.
Okay, so no, Turkey takes Warsaw and Romania.
So, all right, Turkey does stab apparently Austria. England takes Denmark. But the game's going to end very soon.
I do have some notes in the comments that JJ was replaced about 2 years before this moment by Brian Sheldon.
Okay.
Okay, that's helpful.
Okay, that is helpful. So that was probably incentive. Maybe that helped him survive. Maybe he talked people into letting him survive. Okay,
But hey,
so
I'm just gonna say I rooted for Turkey, and look who's the board top right now.
So Turkey does take the board top, indeed. So Markus got pushed back 1, and Turkey went up 2.
Yeah, it looks like England stabbed there, taking Denmark, and not retaking Norway. That was interesting, and I like the Austrian and Spain. Nice.
Okay, if you're gonna do this and you're England, don't you try to talk Russia into taking Sweden here?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a
100%.
Missed opportunity there. Okay, so Austria, did Austria go up or down? Let's see. They walked out of Warsaw. They picked up Spain, but lost Romania and Bulgaria. So they should be pulling one here. And why don't they pull one? Did they have one piffed?
Wait, they're playing with 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh no, they had
5 units on the board. They wind up on 5.
Bulgaria wasn't theirs. They just lost Romania. So they lost Romania, picked up Spain. It's possible that was agreed to. Austria probably knew that they weren't going to board top, so maybe they said, "Go ahead and do it, Turkey."
Yeah, I mean the AT had a great alliance for quite a while there. So,
and that looks like what happened here because Turkey didn't move to Bulgaria. They're taking Greece, but maybe they've agreed to, or maybe it's just a total cluster, and everyone's out for themselves here because Budapest takes Trieste.
Yeah, I mean,
right after putting him into I mean, I guess you take Trieste, I'm getting Marseille kind of a deal.
Yeah.
Denmark goes to Sweden. Maybe Markus is saying, "Fine, take my dots, Derek."
I just think this all devolved into chaos and anarchy at the end.
Does Bill make it? Does Bill survive? What do you guys think?
I'm hoping so. I think Bill has played a really excellent defensive game, and for the scores, they would all want to keep him in there, except for Turkey, maybe. I don't know, but I thought Bill played really well in very difficult situations. So I want him to stay alive. So I'm saying yes, they leave him in.
Okay,
All right.
I'm going to say I hope he makes it, but I don't think he will.
Okay. And the answer is he does.
Okay, Doug, you can be right this time.
Excellent.
So this is how the game is going to end. Turkey gets up to 9, and then we end right here. So Turkey gets up to 9, picks up a score of 36, which takes Liam up to 56.9.
Right.
It looks like. So that
right above that 55.
Right, going to be right on the cut line right there. And well done, Liam. Seriously.
Yeah.
This was because, all right, how far back do we have to go to find when Liam was way down? Liam is the one who walks through Sevastopol in 1902.
Yeah, I mean, it's not exactly Lazarus because he wasn't like, or what the opposite of Lazarus, whichever one is the like down and then comes back.
That's Lazarus.
Okay, yeah, he was never really down. He just wasn't in a great position for quite a number of years.
And we felt like he missed an opportunity here, but turned out to be a really nice long play. He got rid of this fleet, didn't have to worry about it. Maybe if he keeps Sev there, the fleet stays and goes to black and harasses him. And
It definitely could have. Yep, for sure. I do think at the end of the game, there's still a lot of play left in this game. It looks, like a lot of interesting things could happen with Turkey, should they so desire to do that.
Absolutely.
In terms of a bigger score, you mean?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, let us leave Chicago Dog as is, and congratulations to Liam on a slightly unexpected but skillful board top.